right, guys, it is 2020 right now, and Star Wars The Last Jedi came out in 2017. And so that was 3 years ago. And, I have to admit probably that movie will probably be the most talked about Star Wars movie of all time, even more so than the original trilogy, but for all the wrong reasons. That was truly the first Star Wars movie that completely fractured the fan base. Now, the sequel trilogy to me overall, it has been horrible. It's complete dog shit. I don't like it whatsoever. But to many people, The Last Jedi seems to be the worst Star Wars movie of all time. Now, me personally, I don't think that's the case. I actually think that The Rise of Palpatine is worse than The Last Jedi because that movie wrecks an entire franchise. The Last Jedi completely wrecks Luke. And of course, it's filled with identity politics and all that other stuff too. But the reason why we keep talking about The Last Jedi is, for one reason, is a lot of people keep giving us material to actually talk about this movie. 3 years ago, the movie came out. And we're still talking about it today in 2020. And one Lucasfilm employee, you know him as the voice of Darth Maul in Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Sam Witwer. He actually took a huge shot at Rian Johnson, a bit shot at Rian Johnson, and then he retracts his statements and tries to make it seem like he didn't actually say that. Now, looking here on Bounded in the comments, it says during a recent Twitch stream where he was playing Battlefront 2, Witwer opened up about his opinions regarding the film and Rian Johnson. He stated, quote, "Last Jedi to me felt like a movie made by a guy who hadn't quite done his homework. I think Rian Johnson is a talented guy, but Bruce Lee didn't develop Jeet Kune Do without learning Kung Fu first." That's his exact words. And since he actually brought up the Bruce Lee reference, Bruce Lee started actually learning Wing Chun, which is a Chinese Kung Fu technique. But Jeet Kune Do is a combination of so many different martial arts forms, including even boxing. So Bruce Lee had to study a little bit of each one of those to develop Jeet Kune Do. But anyway, I digress. But now, with those words, you can clearly see that Sam Witwer is not a fan of The Last Jedi. He said it, "Last Jedi to me felt like a movie made by a guy who hadn't quite done his homework." That's his exact words. Completely his exact words. And when we get over to Twitter, Ichibaka, who runs Disney Star Wars is Dumb, you should check it out. He actually published an article that says Sam Witwer says Rian Johnson didn't do his homework. Now, this is what Sam Witwer replied to Ichibaka. This is what he said. He said, "Oh, dude, this wasn't what was said. I went on to express that whether something my cup of tea or not, the contributions of Rian Johnson helped Star Wars continue. Please don't clickbait." I'm going to read that again because I kind of messed it up. And I think probably actually Sam Witwer probably actually ended up messing it up too. "Oh, dude, this wasn't what was said. I went on to express that whether something my cup of tea or not, the contributions of Rian Johnson helped Star Wars continue. Please don't clickbait." So he says, this wasn't what was said. But if we go back to his Twitch stream, he actually says, "Last Jedi, to me, felt like a movie made by a guy who hadn't quite done his homework." He said that. How can he even debate that he actually didn't say that? But he actually has more stuff to actually say about Last Jedi. Witwer says, "You can't reinvent Star Wars without knowing Star Wars first, is my thing." That is a uppercut to the chin of Rian Johnson. You can't reinvent Star Wars without knowing Star Wars first, is my thing. That's also an uppercut to Kathleen Kennedy, because we all know she clearly does not know Star Wars at all. She has never been able to answer a question when it relates directly to the movies because she doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand the characters. It's crazy. But he also says this. For me, didn't make a compelling argument why Luke wouldn't go and help his sister. Or if indeed Luke is hiding out on that island because he feels so badly for how he handled Kylo Ren, then why is Luke trash talking Kylo Ren at the end of the movie? It just seems, well, which is it? Do you feel bad that you hurt this boy? Or are you going to trash talk him? You would imagine he would arrive at that fight and go, God, Ben, I'm so sorry. Ben, I'm so sorry. The whole time. I'm not sorry. Not, yeah, whatever. See you around, kid. Why is he trash? What? This is just my opinion, guys. My thing is, if you find there are a lot of things in The Last Jedi that I think were compelling from a Rian Johnson filmmaker point of view, they just didn't quite fit into Star Wars. I don't think he did his Star Wars homework. Another time he said it right there. Didn't do his Star Wars homework. In terms of not the details of the spaceships, I'm talking about the themes. What's this about? What the characters are about. I don't know how Sam Witwer could actually backtrack on that and say that that's not what he said. He said Rian Johnson didn't do his homework. He said the movie The Last Jedi felt like it was made by a guy that didn't do his homework. I mean, Sam Witwer may think we're stupid, but Star Wars fans aren't stupid. You said it. If you didn't mean to say it, don't press send. Don't say something like that on the record because you got busted. You completely got busted. And he actually had some back and forths on Twitter, and Ichibaka even said, you said The Last Jedi to you felt like a movie made by a guy who hadn't quite done his homework. Rian Johnson is the man who made the movie. Clickbait my ass, dude. And then Sam Witwer replies, clickbait is when someone says a soundbite or a piece of a quote that doesn't reflect the overall sentiment to inspire outrage that leads to greater web traffic. So yeah, man, if there was more to what I said, it's clickbait. Dude, it wasn't clickbait. You said The Last Jedi felt like a movie made by a guy who hadn't quite done his homework, and Rian Johnson is the guy that made The Last Jedi. It's not clickbait. I think Sam Witwer he got caught up. He expressed his true feelings, and he's trying to backtrack right now just to save face, but he messed up. He messed up. He has to work at Lucasfilm, and I guess he really wants to continue to get more work because I'm pretty sure that they're going to make some more Darth Maul stuff. Maybe we'll get a Darth Maul movie and he's going to be the voice of it. I have no idea. But apparently, if you're going to work at Lucasfilm, they don't want anybody criticizing the product. And I think Sam Witwer is a smart guy. He knows his Star Wars. And what he said was 100% right about The Last Jedi and about Luke Skywalker in that movie. Rian Johnson did not do his homework. But for you to actually backtrack on that makes you look even more stupid. You cannot backtrack on this. You said it, own up to it. The movie didn't work for you. You're like the only person at Lucasfilm that actually said the movie didn't work for you. Everybody else, just praises it, even though, our boy John Boyega, that's a different kind of cat right there. That's my boy right there. He's dropping bombs about how bad the sequel trilogy is. You know your Star Wars, man. You're just telling us what we already knew about The Last Jedi. Yeah, Rian Johnson didn't do his homework because Rian Johnson doesn't care. He doesn't care about Star Wars. But anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Sam Witwer trashing Rian Johnson and then backtracking. The only reason he's backtracking, guys, is because he has to work at Lucasfilm. That's the only reason why. But I applaud Sam Witwer for expressing the truth But man, you shouldn't have backtracked. You shouldn't have did that. You got caught up, and now you have to clean up your mess. Because now the Star Wars fandom is going to see you for what you are. You're not allowed to trash Lucasfilm in any way. Maybe he got a call from Kathleen Kennedy or somebody at Lucasfilm and said, hey, we're not going to allow you to trash talk about any movie, especially about the beloved Last Jedi. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.